Hello and welcome to my podcast. I'm FastHeartMart, and this is episode 55. Is the show must go on. I'm gonna play a song as usual while people are getting in. If they're getting in, who knows what's gonna happen today? Never know what's gonna happen on these live streams. Just having some fun here, and please like the video and tip me at the Venmo sign. Why is it so hard? There's a Venmo sign there and some links below. And I'm going to play a song this song is by Modest Mouse. One of my all-time favorite rock and roll bands. I backed my car into a cop car the other day. He just drove off, sometimes life's okay. I ran my mouth off a bit too much, what did I say? You just laughed and said it's all okay. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on. That fake Jamaican took every last time with the scam. It's worth it just to learn to slide a hand. Bad news come, don't you worry, even if it lands. Good news will work itself to all them plans. We both got fired on exactly the same day. Well, we were gonna quit anyway. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. Don't worry, even if things end up a bit too heavy. We'll all float on, alright. Don't worry, even if things end up a bit too heavy. We'll all float on, alright. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. We'll all float on, okay. We'll all float on, alright. Alright, thank you very much. Looks like Dennis Driscoll's here. Hello, Dennis. Thanks for tuning in, Dennis Driscoll. And Cobb Irvin is here. Yo, Cobb. Alright, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Well, the topic today, I don't have to check if it's live because it looks like everything. Let me know, guys, if there's any problems with sound or anything, but I'm going to keep going if there's not. And anybody else out there, please tune in or chime in the chat. Oh, looks like Hilda and Randy are out there again today. Oh, welcome back, Hilda and Randy. That's my mom's best friend, and my mom and dad are here. The thing is, I told my parents yesterday, I talk to my parents every Tuesday. They live in Virginia. I live in San Diego, California, which is about 3,000 miles apart. I don't know what that is in kilometers for those of you who are in Europe. But I think that's probably 6,000 kilometers or maybe a little less than 6,000 kilometers. It's a long way. My parents live a long way away. And we talk every Tuesday at 4 o'clock my time, which is like, it's good to have some structure because, how it is with your parents. Sometimes you just lose track of time. And before you know it, the week's over and you haven't even talked to them. So nice version. Thanks, Cobb. I'm glad you liked that version of what was that song called? Float On by Modest Mouse. I'll talk about Modest Mouse in a minute, maybe, hopefully, if I can remember. I, I've been listening to my own podcast lately, and it's like, I'm very scatterbrained. I admit it. I am very, I'm a very scatterbrained individual these days. Just, I think it's because I have so much on my mind with, conducting everything, but it's coming together. Anyway, I was talking to my parents yesterday, and I was so exhausted. I have been working so hard all the time, playing music and driving all over the place. I was in Palm Springs this weekend, and I just told my parents yesterday. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do the live stream tomorrow. I'm like not feeling it. I'm so tired, and I was just having one of those times where you've been pushing really hard, and you just get totally exhausted and nothing makes sense anymore. And that's where I was at. Like, I guess actually starting like last week, I was feeling that way when I went out to Palm Springs. I'll just tell you about Palm Springs now. So I love playing in Palm Springs. I mentioned this a little bit last episode, but I love playing out there in Palm Springs. But it is about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive out to Palm Springs from San Diego. And I have to leave super early on a Thursday morning to play a gig out there on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. It sounds crazy, and it is. And I leave at about 5:30 in the morning, which I did last week. And when I get out there to Palm Springs, Indian Wells, particularly on Thursday, um, you've been driving 2.5 hours, and then you got to hit the stage and play, and it's cool. It's a great gig. I love playing it. It's always sunny out there. It's a little hot still right now, but there was like some kind of emergency road closure on the way out there. I was in the mountains. I take this mountain route out there to Palm Springs. Sorry about the flare right there. That'll go away as the sun goes. I thought it was kind of cool, so I just figured I'd leave my curtain open. You see that flare? You can't see it on the audio, of course, if you're listening on Spotify or whatever, but there's a flare coming through my window, and it's kind of cool on the video camera anyway. So I was driving out there to Palm Springs in the mountains, and it's a really pretty drive. When you drive to Palm Springs through the mountains, it's the 74. It's called the Palms to Desert, or is it 76? I think it's called the Palms to Desert Highway. It's so beautiful. You would never know you're in California because it's just nothing. There's like, and parts of it, there's like nothing out there. Sometimes it'll snow. Like in March, sometimes I've been through there and it's snow, and there's these signs that say you have to put your chains on, which I drive a Prius. I don't even have chains. I barely have, good tires. So, and anyway, so they closed this road. So then I end up having to take this huge detour all around. It was crazy, and finally got out there and played the gig. But it's just one of those times in my life, and I'm only saying this because I'm hoping somebody out there is hearing me say this, but it's just one of those times in life where you're working really hard and you're just like, am I getting anywhere? I'm still financially struggling. I'm not too bad, but a little bit here and there. And then my car started having these problems, which I've mentioned before. I have a slight head gasket leak on my car. And so it kind of sputters and kind of runs bad every once in a while when that leak starts acting up. But then I have this treatment that I can put in it's lasted like 10,000 miles from the last time I did it. So I guess every 10,000 miles I have to put this treatment in. So I went to the store to get the treatment after the gig on Thursday in Palm Springs. And I buy the treatment. It's like $60 for the treatment, and I think you can get 2 uses out of it, 2 applications, which is good. But then I go to open my hood, and my hood wouldn't even open on my car. And I'm a pretty good mechanic, and I could have figured out how to open this hood. But I'm on the road. I'm already tired and exhausted from driving like all morning and then playing in the heat. And it's like 95 degrees out there at this time. So, and then my friend and I were supposed to go for a hike on Thursday evening, and we did. But I was just like, it's one of those times where I was just like, has God forsaken me? Like, what? It just feels like sometimes I feel like everything I set out to do, and I don't mean to sound negative. I'm only saying this because I'm trying to be transparent and make, commiserate with somebody out there. Maybe, like this, there's challenges in life, and I'm just being transparent because it's honestly how I feel sometimes. I'm like, I look around and think, has God forsaken me? Like, what did I do to end up, at this age, which is 46 now, which I don't mean to dwell on that, but I'm getting up there in the years, and I don't know. I always thought I'd be in a little different spot than this at this age. But then my friend Jeff Helton, he always reminds me, well, Jesus didn't have anything. So that's true. And Jesus was a cool guy, seems like. So anyway, yeah, so I didn't think the show was going to happen today until I woke up this morning and I took my morning walk and did my morning workout and all that stuff. And I was just like, you know what, dude? I'm going to do the show today. I'm just going to do it. The show must go on, even though I don't know what I'm going to talk about or what I'm going to play. I mean, I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about. There was a lot of stuff that's happened in the last week that I'd like to talk about, but I know how that goes. You can't talk about too much because there's not enough time to talk about too much on this thing. So let's see what. Um, oh yeah, thanks, Randy and Hilda. They love my glasses. Matches the banjo perfectly. Yeah, it took a long time to get that to work out. I worked on that for a while. So thanks for noticing. And yeah, so just sometimes I feel like I'm sure people must feel like this. You just feel like you're forsaken. Like, why have I been chosen to go down this path, which I've been doing for 24 years now, almost 25 years of playing music professionally. And it's like, has it led to nowhere? I mean, I'm unmarried, which talked about that in the past. That's not everything. And especially the times we're living in, it's not really a bad thing, actually, even to be unmarried. But I always thought I'd be like happily married by this point, like with a woman, and we'd be like gallivanting all over the country in a really nice van that was super reliable and just kind of on top of the world. But it's not really what's happening, and it's probably my own fault. I'm sure I've like made some wrong decisions and whatever, and I accept that. There's a big part of it that I have played, but I think also life life sometimes is just what it is, there's a story, and I'm gonna like chop it up a little bit. It's a story I heard a long time ago, but it's basically the story of this guy who's a juggler, and he used to juggle like on the street and stuff, and people would give him tips and stuff. This was a long time ago, like in ancient Renaissance times, I guess, or whatever, right? And he goes to a church, and everybody's offering sacrifices to the Mother Mary statue, and he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have anything to give. He doesn't has his things that he juggles, which I guess at the time was probably not bowling pins, but probably something like it. And he goes up to the Mother Mary to give a sacrifice or a donation, and he just starts juggling. And people started giggling, and they're like, "Look at him! He's a fool. He's just juggling for the Mother Mary as if she's gonna accept that as a gift." And apparently, apparently the Mother Mary statue, she starts to cry. She weeps with joy because he was offering the gift that he was given, and he's shining his gift, shining his light. And I think in the end, that's all that really matters. None of us are going to be here forever, and we just got to shine our light while we're here. And of course, we regret things and we make mistakes, and we're not always in the place we want to be. But as long as we're letting our light shine, I think we should be happy and proud of ourselves. And that is the moral of the story today, I guess. And I hope somebody gets something out of that. Just keep shining, people, whatever it is, however useless you think your talent is, which I kind of feel like these days sometimes. I'm like, man, I've dedicated my whole life to this. Like, this is crazy. What was I thinking? I should have been a lawyer. And now that I know more about the world and what makes the world go round, I should have been a lawyer and just make all this money and just get through it. But, a lot of those guys are miserable too. A lot of those women are people. People are miserable chasing the money. That's not always good either. You end up, maybe at the end of their lives, they're like, maybe I wish I would have just played the banjo in random places, It's all relative. So, all right. Gonna play a song now. This is a song I wrote. It is called Everything's Gonna Be All Right. Oh, let me talk a little bit about Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse, Isaac Brock is the main lyricist. I don't know if he writes 100% of the lyrics, but I think it's pretty close. And he's definitely the main singer, the lead singer, and he's the main guitar player and songwriter. Isaac Brock, in my opinion, is probably the best lyricist in the rock genre ever. If you don't know Modest Mouse, I encourage you to check out their whole catalog. It's just it's brilliant stuff. I mean, what's one of their lyrics is we broke up and I'm relieved somehow. It's the end of these discussions that just keep going round and round and round and round and round. And there's just brilliant stuff everywhere. I can't even think of it right now. But Modest Mouse, check them out if you don't know them. And if you do know them, cheers. Cheers to you and with my NA beer. This is called Brewdog, which I really like. These are these pretty affordable beers. You get a 20-pack for $20, so it's like $1 a can. Or sorry, that's really bad math. Sorry about that. It's pretty expensive actually. Now that I think of it, it's probably $1.75 a can, I guess. But what is 12 divided by 20, or 20 divided by 12? Anyway, cheers to you and Modest Mouse if you love Modest Mouse like I do. This song is called Everything's Gonna Be Alright. It's a song I wrote a while ago. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be just fine. Everything's gonna be alright. If we just hold on. Just hold on. If you can, just still your mind. Less is wrong than is right. And everything's gonna be alright. If we just hold on. Just hold on. 'Cause sometimes we drift in life. It's hard work just getting by. And everything's gonna be alright. If we just hold on. Just hold on. just hold on, and just hold on, and just let go. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Looks like my mom said the audio is really good tonight. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad it's really good. That's really great. So, yeah, I was out in Palm Springs last weekend. I was out there for 4 days and made some good money and met some nice new people and saw some old friends and stuff too. And I was playing in Palm Springs proper on Saturday. I played Indian Wells Thursday, which is a borough out there, kind of, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, a city in itself. And then I played Rancho Mirage on Friday. And then I played Palm Springs proper on Saturday. And then Sunday I was in a place called La Quinta Farmers Market, which is a really cool little town and out that way too. And you're always surrounded by these big mountains in the Palm Springs area. There's always these majestic big mountains, and the light is usually so amazing out there, especially in the evening when the sun's going down. But it was funny because on Saturday I played at Palm Springs, and apparently, well, I've met a lot of those people that go to the Palm Springs Farmers Market, and they're really good to me. They're really good to me out there, and I really enjoy talking to them whenever they do come up and talk to me. And I find that I think a lot of them are from the LGBTQ community, which is cool, you know. And yeah, because they always tell me their story. A lot of them have relocated from San Francisco down to Palm Springs now, because, as you know, San Francisco is going through a lot of changes. I'm not going to say it's bad or good. I'm just going to say it's going through a lot of changes. And I haven't been there in a couple years because the last time I was in San Francisco, somebody busted out my window while I was sleeping in my car. So if that gives you an idea of the changes I'm kind of talking about. So a lot of these LGBTQ community people have moved to Palm Springs, which is cool. And but it's funny because it seems like every time I turn around, and God bless the LGBTQ community. I know it must be tough, and I don't mean any offense or anything, but it seems like every time I turn around, there's a pride parade. And there was a pride parade on Saturday, and that's cool. It just made the attendance at the market a lot less, I think, than usual. But it just, I've been out there multiple times where there's pride parades multiple times of the year, and then also here in San Diego is the same thing. It's like, wait, there's another pride parade? What? Okay, that's cool. And then I guess that's just, you know, the world we're living in, and it's good those people are making awareness for their cause. That's cool. I'm sure they've been through a lot of adversity. But it was just something I noticed. It was, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, anyway, they notice that kind of thing too. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chats. I'm trying to read the chats while I'm doing this, but I'm sure a lot of people notice there's a kind of an excess of pride parades these days, but nobody's saying anything about it, and that's fine. Whatever, it's cool. Anyway, no. So let me play another song. I guess I'll just move on to another song. This one's called "I Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd. Hilda said that's one of her favorite songs that I just played. Everything's going to be all right. I'm so glad to hear that, Hilda. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the support over the years, Hilda and Randy. So now this next song is called "I Wish You Were Here." It's a Pink Floyd song. I don't know if I've played this that often on this podcast. I mean, I know a lot of people like it, like my version of this, but I haven't played it that often on the podcast, probably because I'm a little bit worn out from it when I play. I play it all the time live. Sorry, my monitor's cutting it out here. Give me a second. Looks like I'm good. Is that? There it is. You like buy all this equipment, right? And you're like trying to buy good stuff, and then stuff still gets janky on you. So let's see. There it is. All right, I hear it. This song's called "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a golden steel rail, smile from a veil? So you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for gold, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in a war for a lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We were two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. Have you found the same old fears? I wish you were here. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail? I smile from the veil. So you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for gold, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in a war for a lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We were two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. Have you found the same old fears? I wish you were here. All right, thank you very much. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate that. There it is. There it is. Am I back? There it is. This thing's cutting in and out on me. Let me just try to fix this real quick. Anyway, that's "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd. And, yeah. Yeah, the phrase, "the show must go on." It's a heroic phrase, isn't it? Because anytime somebody says that, it means they're kind of in a bind and they have to keep going no matter what. I've actually I've had experiences where I've had to play, live shows where the show had to go on, and it was under, very what's the word, less than ideal conditions, way less than ideal conditions, and you do it. You just do the show. You might be sick with the flu or whatever. I'm gonna try to move this mic and stuff. So yeah. Well, yesterday was election day, and I definitely voted. I like to always say that in public for some reason because I think I still believe that voting is important. I know a lot of people think that the voting system is rigged and there's no sense in doing it. And some people even think that the more people who participate, the worse, because if nobody voted, then I don't remember exactly what the logic is to not voting, but they have a good reason for not voting. I get it. And I definitely get it. But I definitely vote every time I can, every time can get out there and put my vote in there. And I think people are very sensitive about politics and talking about politics these days. I don't know. Maybe it's getting easier though as we go on because everybody's just been. You're just only so offended you can get before everybody's just like callous to the whole thing, I guess. And yeah, I think politics is exhausting. It's really exhausting, and the whole system is based around money. We all know that whoever can pay off the politicians the most is going to win. But there's a woman who ran for local office here in San Diego, the county board of supervisors. Her name is Amy Reichert, and I've personally known this woman since 2020. We were both kind of in the trenches fighting the vaccine mandates together, and she's legit, man. She's as legit as any well, she's not even a politician. She's just a regular person who said, you know what? We have to run for office because there's nobody that's going to do it. We have to do this. And I respect that. That is amazing that Amy Reichert, and there's a few other people around town that I know personally who have started to run for office. It's like, put your money where your mouth is. If you don't believe in politics and the system and you want to change it, get in there and change it. That's the world we live in. That's the system we live in. We actually are privileged and blessed, I believe, to live under this system that we have. Even though it's very corrupt, I think there was a lot of effort that went into getting this to where it is. So I really believe in that. And I think a lot of people just want to bury their head in the sand and not think about it or talk about it or even listen to somebody talk about it. But ultimately, we live in a democracy, a so-called democracy, where we, the people, are supposed to be the ones making the informed decisions. And if we don't pay attention, even though it is a soap opera, but if you don't pay attention to this soap opera and get out there and meet the people who are, like Amy Reichert and maybe some of these local people who are not even politicians, they're just concerned citizens who want to change things, I don't think it's going to work. So that's my spiel about elections and voting, all that stuff. I still think it's really important. I definitely got out there and voted. I hope you did yesterday too. And we got the presidential elections coming up next year, and I'm sure everybody's shuddering. God knows what they're going to do this time. In 2020, look what happened last time we had a presidential election. They started a worldwide pandemic. So God only knows what they're going to do this year, because they're definitely fighting for power for some reason. I'm not even sure why. I mean, if somebody like myself doesn't understand why people want so much power, and I have my own theories as to what's actually going on, right down to manipulation by the devil. But I have a sense of humor about that. I don't even know if I believe in the devil, but I don't understand why this has to keep going like this, all this corruption and stuff. And I'm sure a lot of you don't either. But yet, I cast my vote. Even if I write in somebody and turn that in, I cast my vote because I believe the power of intention and putting that intention out there in the cosmos, it does something. And if enough people are paying attention and putting their intentions out there, I think it can change things for the good. So Let me just read some of these chats. Hey, y'all, make sure you like this video, by the way, and also subscribe to my channel. I got 1,190 subscribers now. I'm almost to 1,200, which is nice. That's good. And you can you can tip at this sign here or the links below. Please tip me and all that stuff. All right, let me read some of these chats. Looks like Jess Rose is here again today. Welcome, Jess. I think she's out in Ramona, out on vacation or something. So many things I want to comment, expand on with everything you're bringing to light in this episode. I haven't written for myself in months, but you're echoing most of what I wrote this morning. Oh, cool. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I haven't been writing a whole lot of songs lately. It's a drag. I've just been working so hard on other stuff, and my whole purpose in life is to write and create and express myself through songs. And it's like the last thing I can do these days. If I'm being honest, which I usually am, trying to be honest, I'd be the best politician ever, but I won't do it because I'm reluctant. No, I might do it. Looks like Jeff Helton's here, man. Welcome, Jeff Helton, out of South Carolina. Hello, people, he says. On vacation, watching you, old buddy. Drinking wine and feeling fine. What the? Jeff, you don't drink wine. I mean, I might drink non-alcoholic beers, but that's a different thing. I didn't know you drank wine, dude. Jeff is like the most straight edge dude ever. Even though he listens to death metal and stuff, he's a walking conundrum, just like myself. He's a lot of contradictions going on there with that guy. But looks like he's drinking wine and on vacation today. So good for you, Jeff. Just don't drink too much of that stuff. It goes to your head, man. Trust me, I know. I've traveled all over the world playing music and drinking alcohol, so I'm a professional drinker. But I'm not drinking today, of course. This is a family event. This is a family-friendly show. It's a non-alcoholic beer, as I said earlier. It's really good, though. All right, how about another song? Oh, my banjo strap just came off. That was my fault. I was messing with the button. And anyway, I think the next song I'm going to play is a song called Tomorrow. It's all right song. It's a 3-finger song. I've talked about a little bit about the banjo before on this podcast, but I'll do it again today since there's some new people joining. But the banjo is originally from Africa. People don't realize that. They don't know that the banjo originally came from Africa. What is now Senegal is what they think, because they actually in Senegal these days, in modern times, people still play an instrument that is much like a banjo. And you could see them on YouTube. And the story goes that the banjo came over with some of the slaves in North America. They came to North America probably through the Caribbean on their way, and then up to North America, which is now North America. And the story, the way I like to tell the story, and I'm still waiting for somebody to fact check me on this, but I think this is, I've heard from good sources, this is the way the story went down. So you had hillbillies from Scotland and Ireland that inhabited what is now Appalachia and the Appalachian Mountains, and these hillbillies were fleeing oppressive governments, right? And they just wanted to be left alone, self-reliant people living off the land, growing their own food, pretty much like most of us want to be now, like with all this oppressive, tyrannical stuff that's going on. All of us just dream of having our own land and growing our own food and staying away from everything that's technology based or that keeps us in the matrix. But that's what the hillbillies were doing hundreds of years ago, I guess. It would have been probably starting as early as the 1500s, right? Or what is it, 1692? Sorry. Is that when Columbus came, 1692? I think so. So as early as the 1700s, people started settling in the Appalachians, and I think what happened, and this is kind of, I've heard some people say this too, but I think what happened was some of these slaves would escape the plantations, and it's kind of known that the hillbillies and the slave plantation owners did not get along because the slave plantation owners were the aristocrats. They were the rich who could afford slaves, and they had slaves and stuff like that. The hillbillies were not. They were just self-reliant people, just wanted to be left alone from the government and just left to their own devices back there, right? And so I think some of these slaves would escape and they had their banjos, and they would start playing music with the hillbillies. And that's actually how country music started. That's a fact. We know that the blues from Africa was somehow infused with the Celtic music from Ireland and Scotland to create what is now known as country music. That can be verified for sure. But I'm talking way before the Civil War. I think the relationship between hillbillies and the escaped slaves probably was something. It was probably a beautiful relationship. I think they were intermingling before. This is before the Civil War. I think they found common ground and all that stuff. So, and I'm not saying the Civil War changed that completely. I guess it did a lot of ways for. And of course, it's great that the slaves were freed in the Civil War. I'm not. Of course, that's great. Anyway. Okay, somebody's talking about democracy. Ridge Runner says a democracy is two wolves and one sheep working on what's for dinner. There's no system that works, dude. I mean, that's kind of what the religious people, some of the hardcore Christians say, that no government is going to work. Every government has been tried, and all of them have failed and ended up corrupt. And so what a lot of the Christian people say is that it's going to have to be the will of God. Is going to be basically the law of the land. That's what's going to have to, that God will rule the land. And I can't disagree with that for sure. But until then, I guess democracy, in my opinion, even though it's flawed, I don't know, it's the best thing so far, I guess. I don't know. But I appreciate the comment, and it's funny. All right. This next song is called Tomorrow. It's a song I wrote about just keep going. You just got to keep going, because tomorrow can bring a whole new set of circumstances. It's happened so many times in my life where I'm in a rut. You know, I'm really prone to depression, chronic depression, like clinical depression. I'm really prone to that. It runs in my family, of course, and stuff. So, but I've learned that the longer I live and the wiser I get, hopefully, is you can't really react to what's happening at the moment too much. You have to just kind of let it just go, because a whole new set of circumstances can come in any moment. Like tomorrow, you could wake up and a whole new world could be presenting itself. So that's what this song's about. Don't stop believing in tomorrow, like Fleetwood Mac told you. I know today is a passing day. I feel better tomorrow. I'll understand all these rambling ways. I feel better tomorrow. Tomorrow, all these things bound to change. Tomorrow, oh, I feel so strange. I know today is a passing day. I feel better tomorrow. I'll understand all these rambling ways. Yeah. I feel better tomorrow. Tomorrow, all these things bound to change. Tomorrow, oh, I won't feel so strange. Tomorrow, tomorrow, all these things bound to change. Tomorrow, tomorrow, oh, I won't feel so strange. No, I won't feel so strange. Thank you very much. Thank you. So the story I was going to tell following the banjo story is that the people from Africa, they would play the banjo with their hand like a claw. Let's see, could I get that right? There it is. So you play with this finger. Some people use their middle finger, but they use a finger and a thumb, and it's called claw hammer. And that's how they played when they came from Africa. It's an old technique. What I heard is that people in Africa, when they were there, they would work so hard every day hunting and farming and whatever else that their hands were stuck like they were still holding some kind of tool at night because they worked so hard every day. So their fingers they weren't like super dexterous in their fingers with like details and stuff. So they would just kind of hit it. And as you know, drums are very popular in Africa and most parts of Africa, and singing is too. It's a very song-oriented, music-oriented culture. So is Ireland and Scotland, which I think is so fascinating. Those two cultures came together in North America, because I think both those cultures are so their music is so important to both of those cultures. I mean, Gaelic was almost like a singing language. If you listen to Gaelic, people are almost singing when they speak. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole too far, but there's something called Tartaria, which you can look into. And Tartaria is like an ancient civilization where it was like people were like on a whole nother spiritual level and they might have been singing to each other when they talked. So anyway, I just think it's so cool that those two cultures came together in the Appalachians there, and but they would play with their hands like this, like they were a claw, and that's what people did for a long time until about the 1920s or 1930s, when people didn't have to work on the farm so much anymore. And this is mostly, I'd say, probably mostly white people. They were starting to play the banjo. They started playing with finger picks, which is the style I just played in. It's called the 3-finger style, and the guy that's most notorious for this style is probably Earl Scruggs, who was on the Beverly Hillbillies soundtrack and all that stuff. But they started putting finger picks on. And I don't play in that style a whole lot. It's not an easy style. It's kind of very intuitive to start with, but to master it is really hard. So I don't play a whole lot in that style these days. But I'm hoping as I get older and better, I will master this style. But that's the style I just played that song Tomorrow in, just so you know. Some people call it the Scruggs style, but that's not politically correct, because there was a man, his name was, who was that? Don Reno. Don Reno was playing in this style as well, but he got called off to war. And when he got home from the war, I think it was World War II, right? Yeah, World War II. He came home from the war, and Earl Scruggs was famous for this style, and they said, that's the Scruggs style. And that's not fair to Don Reno, because Don Reno went and fought for this country, and he comes back and he gets thanked with somebody else taking his style. So not that Earl Scruggs stole his style or anything. I think there was a group of people around that were starting to develop this style. And they asked Earl Scruggs one time on an interview, like, how did you come up with that style as opposed to the claw hammer? And Earl Scruggs was just kind of like simply just said, I couldn't play in the claw hammer style. I never could figure it out. So you think like he's amazing. What a great musician. Earl Scruggs is a whole nother level of musician, but he couldn't play the claw hammer style. And a lot of those banjo players are that way still, I think. Less and less now. I think it's more common for all banjo players to play the claw hammer. But I remember in the 80s and 90s, you could hardly ever find a claw hammer player. And then even the early 2000s. It's only in the last 10, 15 years that claw hammers really come back. So let me read some comments here. Let's see. You said it. Democracy. Jeff says, democracy is not perfect, but it works better than communism and socialism. I would agree with that. I think socialism and communism on paper is a great idea, but it's just never been able to implement it properly, and it ends up in a disaster. Martin, you're like a duck. Water just flows off your back. We do what we can do. Yeah, that's right. Duck just. I guess I was in the class ahead of you, Jeff, in high school, but that's what the guy who gave the speech at my graduation in high school said. He's like, you got to be a duck, like furiously paddling under the water, but above on the surface, you look calm as the duck, And I always remember that. I like that guy. I don't remember who it was, but I liked his speech. I thought that was a good speech. And let's see. We are not a democracy. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. Yeah, there's a difference, and that's a very important distinguishment. Thank you, Jeff, for pointing that out. And Ridge Runner says, I am neither Republican or Democrat. Never have been. I am an acolyte of Henry David Thoreau. Heck yeah, man. I feel the same way. Henry David Thoreau is the best. I'm not a Democrat or Republican either. I think that all that stuff is a waste of time, and it's just a way to divide people. I've mostly voted Democrat most of my life, to be honest. But the first time I ever voted, I voted independent for Ross Perot. Actually, I'm always been like I'll vote for whoever I want to. I'm not, and it's actually against my religion to be partial to any political party. So I agree with that. And Henry David Thoreau is the man. I love his stuff. Quiet desperation. His words on quiet desperation, which most people live. Let's see. Looks like Boris is here. Hello, Fast Art. Looking good. Don't get older and better. Don't get older and better. That's the reason I look forward to getting older. Is I hope I'm gonna get better on the banjo and be a better musician. I follow some people on YouTube and online, and this one guy, Dan Walsh. That guy's the master clawhammer player. If you ever get a chance, check out Dan Walsh. I think he's Irish, I think he's Irish, and he's just amazing. He's probably in his late 30s, mid to late 30s at this point, but the guy is just like. He's like a whole lifetime of musical knowledge, and it's amazing what he does with a banjo. And check out Dan Walsh. But I'm on his Patreon, and I want to get some personal lessons from him. That's the thing I get excited about, is like growing as a musician and as a person too, my spirit, and hopefully just being more calm. I hope that as I get older, I can get more calm and not let life mess with my mind so much. Let's see. Jeff Helton says, I mastered the African American culture. Oh, wait. I mastered the African American culture. Get it? My lovely wife and family, which she's beside me right now, is trying to study while I'm enjoying your show. So, Jeff's wife is black. She's African American, and it's great. It's like, Jeff is such a cool guy, and he's always, the first time I ever met Jeff, I dropped my papers in high school, and he picked them up for me. He was like so nice and friendly, and he's just always just a good guy. One of the best guys I've ever met. So Ridge Runner said they read Walden at 12 years old. Thank God. Dang, that's old. That's early to read. That's really early. Good for you. I read Walden when I was in college, freshman college. I was probably 18, and it rocked my world. I was down with that stuff for sure. As everything I already thought about. Yeah, and we all want to, well, not all of us, but most of us want to get off the grid like Henry David Thoreau did back in the 1800s. That was amazing. All right, well, let me go ahead and say some thank yous here and play one more song. I think I'll play Crappy Holidays, which is one of my songs, to end this. Because we just started going, we're in the holidays season now. Like, we just went through Halloween and Day of the Dead last week, so I'm going to do my holiday song, which is funny, supposed to be funny. Let me look at my notes real quick. I was going to make a joke about my mullet and being around the LGBTQ community, but I was just going to say, it's I think most people, when they see that I have a mullet, they just assume I'm not part of the LGBT community. They're like, there's no way anybody would do that, something that screwed up to their hair. But maybe that's not true. I don't know. That's the feeling I get when I talk to a lot of people in the LGBT community. So they never mistake me for being one of them, which is fine too, whatever. I mean, that's fine if they do, and it's fine if they don't. Anyway, here I go, trying to cover my tracks. All right. It's so hard to talk about stuff these days. Oh my God. If you have any ideas for future topics you want me to talk about, or songs you want me to play, just let me know. write me an email, Martin@FastHeartMart.com. And let me look, see who supported today, if anybody did. I heard the email chime in, so just going to thank my supporters for this episode. I know Dennis, he donated late last time, and that was thanks, Dennis. And he donated today. Thank you, Dennis. And it looks like Randy and Hilda donated. Thank you so much for that. And that's it for today. Please donate or tip me, whatever. I'm living off of your donations, people. It looks like maybe I got another notification. Hang on. No, just an email from a friend. So, all right. Let me do this last song. I think I've said everything I need to say. Do you guys have any questions? Any other questions before I go? And leave a comment after the video's over. If you're watching the rerun, or wait till the video is over, and leave a comment. If you made it to the end, leave a comment. Just comment, "The show must go on." I'm just interested to see how many people actually make it to the end of this thing. I don't really look at the stats. I can't bear to look at it. I know I get pretty good views most weeks on this show, but that's kind of why I'm not. That's not really why I'm doing it. I'm really doing it just to get my chops up and tell some stories. Just get myself out there a little bit, and maybe hopefully help some people that need some companionship. This kind of companionship, I don't have time for everybody, but I can do this, and maybe hopefully somebody gets something out of something I'm saying. All right, here we go. This song's called Crappy Holidays. It's supposed to be funny. I've played this song a few times on the podcast before, I think. So please laugh. Well, Valentine's Day, it came and went, and I professed my love to my ex-girlfriend. I won't regret that text that I sent, though she replied she's now pregnant. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. At least it's not my kid. And St. Patrick's Day, I was sad again, 'cause the girl I really like came out to hear my band. But all the people drunk and screaming, she couldn't hear a thing. And then she introduced me to her ugly Irish boyfriend. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. He looks like a leprechaun. Then the 4th of July, I was a lonely guy, 'cause I asked a girl out that I sorta like. She told me unless I've made up my mind to leave her alone and go eat. And I was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. Alright, here's the best verse ever. that I've ever written. I think, in my whole songwriting career. Well, Halloween was supposed to be scary, so why'd all these girls dress up so sexy? Don't they know it makes me feel more lonely if I have to go home alone? I'll be drunk and horny. It's a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. Boo-hoo. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great when girls dress up like Playboy playmates, but not on Halloween. Halloween's supposed to be scary with blood and guts and gore and fangs. It's confusing for a man to go out on Halloween, so I started a movement. It was called #Let's Take Halloween Back. But somebody beat me to it with their hashtag of Halloween's supposed to be gory, not hoary. Wow. Well, please excuse my negativity, but last year was a horrible one for me. I was alone with the flu for Christmas, good grief. Then got dumped by a girl 3 days before New Year's Eve. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. Happy New Year! That's right, she dumped me 3 days before New Year's Eve, and I'm not sure why, but I'm pretty sure it was my fault. It's probably always my fault. I learn something new every time. Every time somebody breaks up with me, I learn from it and better myself. But it was awkward because we ended up at the same New Year's Eve party together, and she asked me for a ride home. And I gave her a ride home. I was friendly. Didn't even bring up the fact that she had dumped me 3 days before that. Dropped her off at her door, just said Happy New Year. Didn't try anything. But then 3 days into the New Year, she calls me up and says she's mad because I didn't try anything on New Year's Eve. I don't know if I ever understand women. I think women are a mystery. That's why men love them forever and ever. Well, people ask me about my New Year's resolutions. Well, mine is to stay out of a mental institution. I say that out jokingly, 'cause I know it's not me. It's this world, it's crazy. Everybody's singing it was a happy holiday, but I'll be okay. It was a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. Now here is the mildly happy ending. I'm paying my bills and I'm making a living. Well, life is magical when I let it be. Thank God I'm alive and I'm still breathing. It's a crappy holiday, and I'll be okay. It is a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. It's a crappy holiday, but I'll be okay. It's a crappy holiday, but I guess I'm okay. All right, thank you very much. I got a couple more comments I feel like should read here because I think it's nice. I think it's nice enough for people to leave comments and stuff, so I think it's good. It's good that I read them. Let's see. Cactus Head Lounge, which is a great channel name. Good to see you, bro. I was set up next to you in Indian Wells. Oh, the beeswax candles. Oh, cool. Are you doing more gigs in Desert this month? This show must go on. Yeah, dude. It's Arrow. Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't say his name. That guy's cool. Yeah, we met out there in Indian Wells the other day, and he was selling these cool wax candles that are like shaped like they look like cactuses, and they're so amazing. And I guess they're made out of beeswax, and that's amazing too. Cobb Irvin said that's his mantra for this season, the crappy holiday song. Cobb, yeah, man, I hear you, dude. That's why I play it, man, because for people like us, you're always in the broken-hearted club. Man, God, I think it's just being a musician. I think that's part of being a musician. I think one of the reasons we became musicians when we were young is because we knew we're gonna have some issues, and or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe we have issues because we're musicians. I can't figure it out, and if you can, let me know. I'm all down to be a plumber or a lawyer or whatever. I don't think it would work out. I got to keep doing this, and that's what I'm doing here. And I encourage everybody to do the same. Cobb Irvin said the show must go on. My mom said the show must go on. Everybody's saying the show must go on. You gotta comment on the put the comment. Well, you guys are fine, but if you're watching the run of this, put the comment in the regular comment section, not the live chat. Hilda and Randy said, thank you, Martin. Great show. Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for tuning in, Cobb. He said good night. And all right, see you guys later. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. That's really cool. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves. And keep shining your light. Whatever gift you were given, keep shining it. Boris says but that I don't have issues. The world has issues. And Jeff Helton says, go black. You never go back, bro. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, dude. Jeff and his wife have brought it together just like they did. Jeff's kind of hillbilly. Let's just be honest, Jeff. You're kind of a hillbilly. And it's like the same thing, man. The hillbillies and the black people come together and create something amazing. That's what happened a long time ago. Country music is amazing. It's not all amazing, but the concept is amazing, and a lot of country music is amazing, and it's soulful, and I love it. I was raised on it. Anyway, that's it. Thanks a lot, everybody. Tune in again next week. I'll be here, God willing. I think, pretty sure. The show must go on. The show must go on. Stop streaming. Good night, everybody. Bye.